Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at two devices that heavily work in the iOS realm basically, or in the Mac OS, but they work on Windows too. But you know, if you're really entangled into that iOS Mac infrastructure ecosystem that it is, these are perfect little gadgets for you. And again, they'll work with Windows, but with a lightning adapter built in, they're really tailored for iOS devices. So the first one we're going to look at, and these are from RavPower. So this is a tiny little USB 3.0 flash drive that will transcend from an iOS device to a Mac to a Windows PC. And this is the RPIM 0007. That's the model number for this one. We'll take a look at that. And the second one we're going to look at is this one here, which is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier footprint. But the cool thing about this is it has 64 gigs on board, as does that one, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But this one has a SD card adapter as well. So now you can take stuff like if you're out in the field and you're doing video shoots, camera shoots, whatever, you can take that from an SD card to this device, which you could in turn take to an iPhone, for transferring, going to social media, or to an iPad, or again to a Mac if you want to just start editing or doing something out in the field. So that is very cool. This model number on this bad boy is going to be the RPIM 004. And again, I'll have links in the show notes, so you're not going to worry about all that kind of stuff. Alright, so let's dig in and take a quick look at how these work and what is the use case for them. So for the smaller version, let's go ahead and take it out of the box. You can see that's pretty small. You know, there it is in my hand. It has two, so you can pull off this lid, that lid, and now you can see how it's kind of designed to work. I can put this lightning adapter into an iOS device. I have to download an app called iPlugMate. It is a free app in the App Store for iOS. And then it's got a regular old USB Type A 3.0 plug here, which will work into a Mac. You know, you gotta watch now. I'm gonna say the MacBooks, but if you got one of those MacBooks that have the Type C only, or MacBooks that have the Type C only Pros, you're gonna need an adapter. So, not a Type C device, put that out there as a disclaimer. Now the nice thing about this too is it's got an extended lightning adapter, which is a lot longer than normal. So it's going to work with a case on in most cases. Now if you got like the outer boxes or the life proofs or whatever, no, you're not going to have this work. You're going to have to take that case off for this to work. Probably not a great solution for you. You either need to not do this or not do the case that you have. Okay. Again, 64 gigs on board for this bad boy, so already you've got 64 gigs you're adding. So if you are tight on space on any of your iOS devices, this is awesome. You can take media, photos, music, whatever, video, and put on here files, put on here instead of on your iOS device. You can stream from this. You can watch videos from this, listen to music from this. It eliminates you putting that media content on your iOS device, taking up valuable space. How many of you have to delete apps just to do an update? Yeah, that sucks. All right. So, now I mentioned I have a case. This is my iPhone 7 Plus. So I have a case on here, and I have no problem whatsoever with this case on, just putting this in, because it does have that extended lightning adapter, and now it says, hey, iPlugMate would like to communicate with RavPower iPlugMate. So that's just a quick example that I want to do with the iPhone. We're actually going to use the iPad to demo this bad boy, because it's got a bigger screen. And we can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to come over here to the iPad, and we're going to plug in this adapter to the iPad. And it's going to say the same thing. It's going to say, hey, iPlugMate would like to communicate. So we're going to go into storage devices and launch the iPlugMate app. And we're going to go ahead and shift focus over here, do a little zoom in so you guys can see exactly. Sorry for the glitchiness. So this is the app itself. So, which is nice in the app, camera bump. You can see the internal storage on my iPad. Now I got 91 gigs free because I've got the 128 gig edition. So, you know, I'm not pressed for space on anything. These are both 128 gig editions, the iPhone and the iPad. But so we can go to external storage, and now it has 62 or 58 gigs free. So if I just push that, it's going to show you the contents that's on that flash drive. Now again, I could take something from the iPad, copy it to this, move it over to the MacBook, or move it to a PC and transfer the files. And you can see here I've got some random stuff. These here came with their instruction manuals in different languages. You can see the English, the Japanese, all that kind of stuff in here. So you can view PDFs within the app. You can also view Word docs, Excel files, PowerPoint presentations. You know, it's got a pretty good range of file types that this app can natively support to view. Now, I also mentioned I've copied stuff. So I had this in the iPhone 7. So I copied an iPhone 7 video over here that I took on the iPhone and copied it to the iPad. Okay, now we can stream, so all I gotta do is hit this. This was just a Christmas video when we were looking at Christmas lights. And I recorded it on the iPhone 7, and it is on that flash drive, and now I'm playing it on the iPad. So, kind of cool. Again, you just eliminate space hogs from one device and put it on the flash drive. Same with like photos. So, I've got some photos here. I took that with my iPhone 7. Christmas buffet here that we produced for the family, and now I've got it on my iPad. Now I can copy this. This isn't physically on the iPad, but if I want to copy it, so I can come in here and I can hit select, and I'm going to copy this picture. And it says copy to. I can copy it to the camera roll of the iPad, internal storage, and we're going to paste it there. Boom. Now it transferred that fast. See, there's a transferring, transfer complete, and transfer failed. So that is now on my iPad. So if I switch to the iPad and go to the camera roll, here's the photo. Well, that's the one I copied. Not the same one, but that's the one I copied over. That was on the device. This is just a zoom in on the buffet that we had. That's one of the snacks. So that is now copied from the iPhone 7 to the flash drive to the iPad. Now you can reverse that and copy from the iPad to the iPhone 7, or you can take this and copy it to the MacBook that I have over here. So a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this. So we can go back to the iPlug Mate. We can go back to the home. Now, here you can kind of specialize. It'll look at just photos. It'll look at just videos. It'll look at music. You can back up your iPad when it comes to contacts. There's a file and folder, so you can do folder management. You can create new folders, you can delete folders. And then you can go straight from the camera to the device itself. So if I was to hit backup, you can see phone backup, backup contacts, start backup. So it's just going to back up, you know, your contacts. Let's see if I click on the phone. Yeah, it's not going to. Contacts. So we can start backup. We can just see. So it's backing up whatever's on the iPad here. Obviously not a lot of stuff gets backed up on this thing. It will not replace your iTunes or your iCloud, so don't think like that, but it will replace some things. Now it did 21 files. That it did. Same with contacts, you can back them up. This won't play DRM, so I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but if you have music downloaded that's DRM protected, it will not play in this, so sorry. Got to be griping at Apple for that, right? Videos, same thing. You can stream. This is actually a movie. It's an M4V. Now this will play like MKVs. It will play MP4s. And it does a great job of streaming video. Again, this is actually coming from the 64 gig flash drive. So, good stuff. Now, before we move on, let's go ahead and take a look at this bad boy. So let's go move the camera over here. So this is the bigger brother, basically. So how does this one work? So you can see here it swivels. So now there's your Type A USB 3.0 adapter. And now there's a SD card. Ooh, look at that. So let's go ahead, and for chagrins, let's go ahead and take this SD card. Let's install it. Let's flip this around. Now, so you can flip this with the SD card in there. And now we've got the lightning adapter. So let's go over to the iPad here. Again, we're going to scroll over. Let it get focused. And we're going to go ahead and just close the app. and we're going to remove the smaller version. And we're going to plug in this guy. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, it says, do you want to allow it? Yeah, let's allow it. It's loading. Now, we should see 3 storage devices listed in this one. Because we've got the internal iPad storage, we have the 64 gig onboard flash drive, and we've got an SD card to boot. So we should have 3 devices showing in here. And this one's taking a little while to load for some reason. I may have to just punt the app and restart it here, because I think I probably confused it by switching up on it. Let's reload it. Whoops. Alright. Let's try this again. There we go. Much faster. Shouldn't take that long to load, so that's why I wanted to just restart the app. I've confused it. Alright. Well, at this point, I'm not seeing the SD card, so maybe we'll try to replug this in. Okay, so I had to put in a different SD card, so the one that I was trying obviously had an issue. I put it in another machine and it did have an issue, so it was nothing related to the device. Now you can see I do have an SD card showing here that has 7 gigs free, so I can click on the SD card and I can transfer files and stuff to and from. Now this one happens to be empty. I've deleted everything off of it. But, you know, if I had a file here, I could copy it by hitting select and then going and copying it to my internal storage or to the 64 gig storage on the actual card itself, the flash drive itself. So, pretty cool stuff. I did want to demonstrate this one just to show you that you get a 3rd storage device down here. And again, that would be great out in the field. Again, if you're like a photographer and stuff like that, that you could just transfer from an SD card. Now I did want to show you this will also fit. I'll come back over here in front of the camera and zoom back out. Now I do have a MacBook in this equation here, just to demonstrate I could put it in a MacBook. This does fit. Again, this has an extended case on it, or plug, and it says it would like to communicate. So I have no problems with the case on here, plugging it in and out. And this one again with that SD adapter, it's pretty darn cool. Now if we take it, we'll just spin it. I'm going to take the SD card out. We just spin this around and we come over, and you can see it says 64 gig, so there's 64 gig on board. And if you have a MacBook or a MacBook Pro with that USB Type-C drive, you have to get an adapter. So this would allow me to plug in a USB 3.0 device, Type A, to my MacBook, and then I could transfer files to my MacBook. Now if you got the older MacBook Pros, even a MacBook Air I think has at least one USB Type A, no problems. You don't need an adapter, but otherwise these work fine, and again it works with a Windows PC, so you're good to go. Now I did want to cover just a few other little specs. I think I've mentioned everything else, but it does have fast writing speeds, again USB 3.0, up to 80 megabits per second reading and 30 megabits per second writing, and like I said, it has to have iOS 8.0 or higher, so you've got to at least be running iOS 8. So if you got a really old iOS device, which you probably don't even have a lightning adapter, you're probably fine, because iOS 8's been out for quite a while. Image files wise, it does support your standard GIFs, JPEGs, PNGs, music, M4As, AIFFs, CAFs, MP3s, and WAVs. Sorry if you're a lossless fan, you're kind of SOL there. Video, AVIs, FLVs, M4Vs, MKVs, MOVs, MP4s, and again I've mentioned all the documents pretty much, but it does do text and HTML as well. So just wanted to cover all the bases. Also, it does support Linux, so it does say if you have a computer OS that is Linux. I did not test that, but it says it will move to a Linux box. So if you are running a Linux box and want to transfer files to and fro, supposedly these will work as well. iOS to Linux. Pretty cool stuff. Again, that is the two devices from RavPower that we went ahead and took a look at. If you're interested in either one of them, check the show notes. I will have a link to each one. So you can check them out. They're very handy, very cool. Again, if you live in that iOS ecosystem and have like the iPhones and iPads and stuff like that, even the iPods, if you just want to have extra storage on your iPod, you could do it. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And as always, guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.